we don't get through life without having resentments. And so with Kuan Yin, she's really been an archetype that's helped me really overcome a lot of forgiveness. And through that, I've also been able to help other people get through forgiveness. And I believe that forgiveness is like, it's almost like the access point to getting to the next level of transformation, you know, and without that, of course, you know, we have to go through other processes like anger and rage. And that's why we have Kali and the other 11 goddesses, which Stacey, you know about, right? So there's no, that's why I like 11 goddesses, because we're not one-dimensional. We're multi-dimensional, and we're meant to access 11 goddesses or more that really are representing our archetypes within us, because without being able to access that, it's our navigation system, right? So each goddess is meant to be a navigation system. Like, okay, I'm really rageful, and I'm really angry, and I am like, I need to go through this, you know, burning fire, and I need to bring out Kali. That's one archetype, and I always say, like, you can be a Kuan Yin archetype and you can be a Kali archetype. There's not like a this or that. And so much in our society we've been taught, like, you need to be one. Are you good? Are you bad? And the goddesses transcend that modality, you know, like that belief, like good and bad. It's like, no, it's beyond that. Like, we're so epically beyond good and bad. That's almost like the old paradigm that we've had inside of ourselves, and that has harmed us, thinking like, am I good? Because everyone makes decisions based on where they're at in their life, and there's no such thing as good and bad, and it's a very limiting belief system. So I really love the goddesses, and they've helped me so much in understanding that you can transcend beyond good and bad. You can go into other realms and access different parts of yourself, because every woman and man, you know, has access to the feminine archetypes. And I love Kuan Yin because for me, she's really helped soften my heart. You know, I felt at a certain time I had a very, like, not hard heart, but it was very encapsulated, you know, and it had many layers and many walls that no one could access. And that's a very lonely place to be in, and that's a very dangerous place to be in, because what happens there is that from that wall you end up becoming encapsulated within yourself, and it's a very lonely place to be. And, you know, working with the goddesses has helped me to expand my consciousness so that I can start to think on a different level beyond good and bad. You know, we're all put in different situations in life. So, you know, when my client comes in, I don't think good or bad. I'm going beyond that. And the only way I can transcend that is with the goddesses. You know, they really help me go beyond those sort of conditions, because life on this earth is all about duality. So Kuan Yin has been a beautiful archetype for me, and you can see the book here. And she's really, really helped me heal many parts of my heart, and I hope she's helped, you know, my friends, my clients, you know, heal parts of their heart, because we've all been wounded, and there's no shame in that. Every human that's ever existed has been wounded, and that's part of the process of being human, is going through the wounding process. And then the other part is emerging from that, so we don't maintain the victim archetype. You know, we want to move beyond those modalities or realms as well. So for me, Kuan Yin has really helped me overcome parts of the victim, because we all identify with that, and that's actually not a bad thing. But the best part is really transcending to the next level of the victim archetype, you know, which is being the hero of your own life and knowing that you can move forward. So I created this workbook, you know, for students of Kuan Yin Goddess Code activations. And I'm really grateful for my students, because they're also my teachers, you know, and they teach me so much. I love that process. So the Kuan Yin Goddess Code activations is actually like a workbook, and we get to go deeper into ourselves and transcend certain pain points that we've been carrying. So I'd like to read a certain part for you. And this is about creating your sacred space, because sacred space is both inside of ourselves and also outside of ourselves. So in our home, we can create a sacred space, like a very small place. It doesn't have to be like big or anything like that, but just one little tiny corner that every time you look at it, you're like, wow, I feel I feel positive energy. I feel supported. And I think, you know, in this life, we need to find those points where we feel supported. Because, you know, the world is always giving us so much information, and we can't really process all of that. So we need to find points in our life that we constantly feel supported. So let's talk about creating your sacred space. And you can see in the picture there. So creating sacred space is really about embarking on the most important aspect of connecting with the Kuan Yin Goddess Code activation. It seems so simple, yet it's so vital. And the first and foremost priority in preparing your sacred space is like setting up just a clean space for her. So this will be truly the beginning of your journey. And you don't have to, like, you know, believe in Kuan Yin like, oh, she's the god of all that is. She's just one archetype that's really here to help us connect with and heal. Because truly, in the bigger sense of it all, everything outside of us is really a reflection of us inside. It doesn't matter what it is. It could, you know, could be Trump, it could be Kuan Yin. It doesn't matter. Everyone is an archetype that we carry. So it's not that we are victims. When we identify with an archetype, we're actually connecting with that source energy. When we don't connect with that archetype, we're saying, okay, that's not aligned with me anymore. So setting up an altar is sort of the beginning of creating the journey. And like all journeys you've taken, there are intentions, there are efforts involved. You know, anyone can connect with a goddess on a superficial level, and we see that everywhere. You pick up a magazine and you see like a goddess, like, oh, and that's not a goddess. Because a goddess is not just that, like, Barbie plastic look, you know. A goddess is so much deeper. A goddess is really embodying the essence. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter. Really, a goddess is the essence and the deep core of your being. And so anyone can connect with a goddess, and especially with Kuan Yin, she's the easiest access point to connect with her. So, in other words, you can be idle and truly want to have this experience, or you can connect to receive the rewards and activate the pure potency of Goddess Kuan Yin within your being. So go ahead and find the perfect space in your home, and just take a moment and just be in that stillness. You know, obviously we're in a space that's occupied with other people, but in your own home, you can just focus on your breathing. So each one of you, let's just take one breath together, okay? A deep breath. And take one more. And release. And take one more deep breath. And as you release any judgments about what's going on around you, because life is like that. There's always movement and always sound, but let's connect back to what's really important, and that is just being inside of your being while you have this physical space. Take one more breath. And just tap, you can tap also on your chest just to sort of center. And you can think about, what is a perfect space in your home? What does that look like? It could be even like a corner in your bathroom. And so I'd like you to just, if you want to practice with me, you can. You can just put a hand on your heart and a hand on your stomach. And just for a few seconds, you slowly inhale and exhale. And learn to just be with whatever space is. Like, even if there's chatter around or chatter inside, be with that. Like, that's okay. That's not a bad thing, you know? So in this moment, I'd like you to just visualize a space in your home where you would be more likely to create a space for Kuan Yin. And you could probably think about a space, it could be in your bathroom or in your bedroom or anywhere. And imagine what it would be like to have a sacred altar. What it would feel like to have the presence of Kuan Yin as she embodies all that you connect with. And as you feel that or see that connection, you can truly connect with her presence and see a clear picture of what you want to create in your sacred space. And so getting to the point of what is the goal of creating a sacred altar is you're building an altar in a sacred space so you can invite the energy of peace in your space wherever you are. I've been wanting to super glue like a little statue of Kuan Yin in my car for so long. Like I have a little tiny Kuan Yin. I just need super glue. But so when I drive, like I don't go crazy because like driving is my biggest pet peeve in my life. That's the one thing that like, you know, I get mad at all the drivers. I'm like, what are you doing here, you know? But I'm like, okay, let's just take that moment and take that opportunity to connect back, you know, because I can't make the drivers go away. There's whatever's in front of you is in front of you, and we all have various obstacles. But connecting with the goddess and Kuan Yin really helps us to accept what's in front of us rather than like trying to move it away, because we have to go through. We can't, you know, jump over the fence or go out of it. Like, you know, we have to come through the corridors, and there's no way out but through. And there's many times in my life I've always wanted to be like, can I jump over here? No, I have to go through. We all have to go through. So, you know, creating a Kuan Yin altar is really creating a sacred space in your home. And I know, you know, it's a lot to take in a space like this. This is more of like a much more retreated space, you know. But the point is that we can access that energy wherever we are, no matter what's going on. And it doesn't matter where we are, you know. It's really overcoming the certain obstacles we have in front of us. So, would you guys like to each take a Kuan Yin book and sort of go through it and see a certain aspect that you'd like to connect with, or?
I already have a Kuan Yin altar.
Yeah, oh, that's incredible. But just for yourself, so you can just connect. Hi, how are you? Yeah, just to hang out, to look at and see what aspect of Kuan Yin that speaks to you. You can just take your time. You know, this workbook is meant to be personal, and that's why it's sort of in a workbook aspect. It's not like a regular book.
Could you speak about Lord Gautama Buddha being her master?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kuan Yin, I mean, as far as the legend goes, like Kuan Yin really was connected to Buddha, you know, and that is a principle of like peace and really finding peace in each moment. So that was her master, but she was actually a man. So Kuan Yin started off as a masculine. But in his masculine form, he couldn't handle the pressure, the energy. Like, he was really trying to hold a container for compassion. But it wasn't quite possible in his masculine field. So, you know, legend says he broke into 1,000 pieces and really reincarnated as a feminine. And that's interesting because we're at the precipice in our time where, you know, the masculine is like saying, okay, how can I hold the space, you know, and so it's very symbolic, you know, and she transcended into the feminine. Now that's not saying that you have to burst into 1,000 pieces of inner man. That's really just saying that we need to sort of, you know, breaking out into 1,000 pieces could be shattering the old paradigm. It could mean not holding on to the old, like we don't have to hold on to the rules and regulations of the past. Like, we really have to step into the new aspect of who we are. And, you know, that's sort of a death and rebirth process. And that's exactly what Kuan Yin went through. But in the process of going through the death and rebirth, she was able to access more of herself. Like, that old model wasn't working. And of course, we celebrate the masculine, but that particular model wasn't working. And so she was able to transcend that and really create a sacred container, because she is known to be an ascended Buddha that is actually, you know, it's like, okay, you can go on to the next dimensions and move on. But she said, no, I want to be here. I'm going to stay here on Earth as long as it takes, simply because I know humanity is going through a transition. And I want to really hold space for that humanity to transcend and to not leave anyone behind. So it's an opportunity, you know, in all of us to say, okay, how can I just be here now? And really, you know, pieces are shattering in the world. You can see that everywhere. But does it have to be something where we shatter too? Can we witness a shattering and still find empowerment in ourselves? You know, can we still find that point where we feel compassion and we don't have to shatter? Because there is a slew of things going on, you know. And I think that's the blessing of Kuan Yin, is really bringing that back into your heart, into your heart space, and saying, I'm going to be okay. You know, things are shattering, and yet I'm grounded. I'm okay. I'm witnessing, and I'm still holding a space for what I really see, which is a healed world. And ultimately, you know, my belief is that, you know, the world we see outside is really a reflection of the world inside. So as we start to heal those places inside of us that are shattered, we can transform and transmute that. We don't have to carry the weight of the world. You know, we don't have to do that, but we can have compassion as it's happening and say, and I'm still here holding that space. And it's not about being perfect, because none of us are, you know. It's about just making that intention, really living for that. And so for me, that's what this workbook is about. You know, as we heal ourselves, we really truly heal the world. So yeah, that's it.
Have you done a lot of work with the forgiveness, the guy who did all the forgiveness work, Colin Timming, I think?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. Somebody told me, the physical teacher told me about him. And
Okay.
I did the free worksheets that he had on his website and stuff, and it's really good. Very helpful.
I'd love to know, because I love to know. You know, I think it doesn't matter. We're all sort of intercepting and connecting, and that's the most important thing, is that we're bringing information to each other, all of us.
It was a big game changer when I did all these forgiveness exercises, both with work and family, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
I had a major shift after that.
See, that's it. Like, forgiveness is one of those things that we have to work through.
Yeah.
And the hardest time sometimes is with our own family. Very much so.
Yeah. I did it with work and, you know, career, work, family, and it was like, wow.
It's incredible. Congratulations.
Huge. I did it earlier this year, and it was just like, just some exercises, and then, so.
Congratulations. No, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate how forgiveness works.
Yeah, because it's like what you said. It's like it's really shit transforms everything. So.
And Raz, do you want to come up here? Come up here. Raz is incredible. She's my, you know, she's PR, but also, you know, she's a human. Like, we're all human, and she's taken like Kuan Yin goddess activations for us. You come closer to me. Here you go. And I'd love to know, like, what was that like for you to experience Kuan Yin? You know,
there's so many aspects, but
for you personally, yeah.
I think it's just a deep grounding work. Like going into or peeling more of our layers, and I know I've done some healing, but then part of it is just going deeper and just accessing the part of you to learn more about how you move forward from here on. You know, with all the things that had happened to me, I feel like, where am I heading? But then just a kind of like a guarantee or just saying, hey, you're in the right path. So it just brought about, hey, I'm doing the right thing, just go move on, and at least you have all these women to access with. And I think I like that part too, where you bring together all these women.
Sisterhood. I mean, that's what I live for, sisterhood. Like, I want to create more of that in my life, in my work, and I think we all need that feeling of, like, unconditional love. Like, it's important. Like, you can't do wrong, right?
Like you were saying, stop acting catty or against women. We have to be together and just move our powers together, or something like that.
Yeah.
Just work well together and just lift each other up.
Yeah. Because I feel like, go ahead.
How long did it take you to go through the Kuan
6 weeks. But then every day there's a homework. We had to go through a lot of different stuff. I don't know if you want to say it, but there's so many ways where different exercises. So one is like writing a love letter to yourself. So it's like going deep, and even that was so hard. Like, what should I say to myself? What should I tell myself? And what should I bring about? So even that, I had to pause and think, and then started writing. And then once you get into the flow, you're looking at each of the things that you do well and what you can improve on. So it's just you healing yourself as well. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and I really love that you brought up that point about, like, women supporting women, because it's weird in this world. We've been taught like a fairy tale, like there can only be one princess or one queen, and that's not true. Every one of you is a queen and a princess inside. There's not just one. Like, in fact, if we all get into that power, we're like, I'm a queen, you're 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 a queen, we can do so much more in the world. And it's a feeling that's been stripped from us, like, of not being enough, right? Of not being enough, that we're like, well, I need to just sort of be over here because there's not enough. But no, trust me, there's enough. There's enough for every woman to shine in her power, in her light, in her beauty. And we need more feminine leadership. And that's really what I'm a stand for. Because feminine leadership embraces. It says, come here, let's do this together. Rather than excluding, like, oh, I'm up here. Like, that's not what I'm about. I'm like, I'm right here, and you're right here, and we're both together. It's not one or the other. Like, we're sisters. We've forgotten how to be sisters, and that's such a big wound. And for me, that's been a big wound, and I want to share that sisterhood and create that sisterhood more with women, because in order to really embrace our feminine power, we need to say, hey, I got your back. You got my back. I'm going to support you. You're going to support me. And that's how we build momentum together, rather than like, no, I need you to be here, and so I can be. It's not like that, And so it's sort of shattering that paradigm, so each feminine can step into her power, And as she does, that you're divinely loved and supported, that no one can replace you. Each one of you here has something special to offer that no one else can offer. You can share something in a way that no one else can share it. And that's so important to me, is a woman's voice, that's her treasure, like her heart and her voice coming together is really important and bring into this world right now. So did you feel like your voice opened up more through the process?
I think so, because you feel like you opened up to yourself. Like when I did all the exercises, I feel like I knew myself more, and I feel what needs to be done, and just kind of like internalize everything and just build up. Trusting. It's more about trusting yourself too, to do what you need to do. So it's just it just came up.
Yeah.
And now knowing that it's there and it's for the taking, and it's like, wow. It's lovely.
Yeah, and you're on your soul work, and each one of you here is on your soul work. So I congratulate you, and I thank you, and I honor each one of you for showing up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for showing up.